Hello, my name is Abigail Wooden, and I'm going to talk to you about why I think naturalism is false, and also give you some perspective on why I am a creationist. So you may be asking yourself, what is naturalism? Well, according to Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, naturalism is a view that there is nothing more to the mental, biological, and social realms than arrangements of physical entities. So what does that mean in human terms? Well, naturalism, it means that there is nothing in the world beyond what I can see, hear, feel, or touch. Basically the five senses. Nothing else exists. Nature is all there is. There is no God. There are no ghosts, there are no spirits, there is no soul, we have no soul, we're not worth anything, we're just the result of random chemical reactions. And so, if you're a naturalist, you probably also believe in the Big Bang Theory. But what is the Big Bang Theory? Well, the Big Bang Theory was invented in the 1920s by Georges Lemaitre, who proposed the idea that that the world was formed from a single particle, and that particle was formed from a bunch of gases moving together to form one chemical reaction that forms the entire Earth. And I got this from looking at National Geographic. And so the Big Bang Theory has a few flaws, but I think we'll talk about that a little bit later on as you're listening. If you're a naturalist, not only do you believe in the Big Bang Theory, but you also have to believe in natural selection. And that kind of goes along with the Big Bang Theory, because natural selection is the belief that over millions and billions of years, our ancestors evolved to adapt to their environments. So that's why we have black people, why we have white people, why we have people of different ethnicities, different heights, different shapes and sizes. It's the belief that throughout time we evolved. We were originally monkeys, actually, and we evolved and got smarter to become what we are today. And I think the opposite is true. I don't think we're monkeys. I think we were never monkeys. I think we were humans, but we're actually just getting dumber as time goes on. Not trying to get a little political here, but just don't look at the news anymore. It's not even true. But if you're a naturalist, you also have to believe in idealism. And so, according to Philosophy Basics, idealism is the belief that everything is in my mind. Everything is subjective. There is no right or wrong. What is true for me may not be true for you. If I go kill someone, it's wrong to you. But if I'm right, then there is no consequence to that. There must be something that says it is wrong, and something that will hold me accountable. But there isn't if you are a true naturalist. And therefore, as a naturalist, you're a nihilist, because nothing in your life matters. Whatever you do has no meaning in the end, because you just die. And as Socrates would say, all we are is dust in the wind. Nothing that we do matters, because if you are an inventor and you create something, and 200 years from now, people don't even know anything about you, like who you truly were, then your life literally had no meaning. And you didn't really go anywhere, because if there is no God, then there is no heaven or no hell. So your life literally has no meaning. If you're a naturalist, I think you have to believe in nihilism as well. So we talked about naturalism, we talked about the other things that go along with it, and the consequences of those beliefs. But we didn't discuss why I think creation is valuable, why creation must have meaning, why creation must be an answer And the reason for that is because I think that creation fills a lot of the holes that naturalism has left. It explains why we have a consciousness, why we have a mind. Naturalists think because we're physical, they only believe in the physical part of us, that our thoughts and our mind doesn't exist. So that's called monism. And that's a whole other subject. You can Google it or whatever you want to do, but the belief that we don't have a mind, well, the Bible tells us that we have a mind, and we were formed from God, for God. Not from God, but by God. We were formed by God, for God. And that explains why we have a mind, why we have a consciousness, and why we feel compelled to do right things and wrong things. Even people who are murderers will tell you, the first time they killed someone, it didn't feel right. You know, you see these videos with Ted Bundy, you know, the man who would go out and he would say to these women who pretend to be injured so that they would come to the back of his car and he could do whatever he wanted with them and then kill them. And the reality was it didn't feel right when he first did it, but the more he did it, the better it felt. Like it wasn't bad. It was something that he even craved to do. And it all started from the beginning. It felt wrong because it was wrong, because he had a consciousness, because he had a mind, because he had thoughts and he had feelings and things that materialists and naturalists cannot explain. But only the Bible can explain why that is true, why we have a consciousness. It also gives us a reason to live and to have a life. You know, where do you go when you die? A lot of people ask that question. A lot of people think, oh, we evolved to be trees, or we evolved to be animals, or we just go into another body of somebody else. And that's actually a little harder to believe than to believe that, you know, we live forever and our mind and our consciousness is actually just transferred to heaven. But it also gives us hope too, because the people in our lives who we lost, the people that we grieve, the people that we feel sad about, it feels good to believe that there's somewhere else, that they're with God, and that we'll be with them soon. And even in the Bible it says about how when we're in heaven, we'll know who each other was. We won't look the same. We'll have perfect bodies, we'll have perfect minds, we'll have perfect everything because God has perfected us. And also explaining some of the consequences of that thought real quick. To explain, I'm trying to figure out how I can word this right here. Well, we were created not to be perfect in order to have a second life, in order to understand better for when we get to heaven. Everyone wants to go to heaven, everyone wants to be perfect, but this life is also the stepping stone towards that, I think. And I'm getting off topic, and you can Google Christianity too, but I was just saying, in order for us to exist, in order for us to be alive, we must have a creator, we must have a purpose. And going back to the Big Bang Theory idea, you know, if we look at it from a scientific view, we have to understand something had to move those gases together. You know, you can't just create emotion, you can't create a reaction without there first being an action. And a lot of people ask, well, if God created man, who created God? Well, let's assume that God was created. But who created that being that created God? And it could go on and on and on and on, and so it must stop somewhere. And so in order for the earth to be created, we must believe that God was there from the beginning, and that God wasn't created, which the Bible also tells us. And so understanding all of this, I hope that I've given you some clarity and some understanding of why I think creation is a more easier to believe thing, because if you believe in God, you must believe in the Bible, and that's a lot easier than believing that we have no significance and we have no meaning in life. And really, I think it makes a lot of sense, because that's what God wants. He wants us to understand that we have meaning, we can have a relationship with Him, and that when we die, we'll be with Him, and that He's with us right now on the earth, in our mind, which He created, in our body, in our soul, He created, so that we would know Him and we would understand Him. Thank you.